Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very exciting, monumentous day inside Raid Shadow Legends on my account. It's a big one, that's for sure. First of all, we're going to go ahead and we're going to hop into the Great Hall, and boom! Just like that, I have now reached level 240 in the Great Hall. I have maxed it out. Now every 1,000 gold medals I get, I can go ahead and open up one of these chests, which gives us a whole lot of nothing valuable, to be honest, but it's, you know, a way to spend our gold medals, at least a little bit of motivation for the arena. And then we also have Marius, who's waiting to be collected. I don't know if I want to do him during this CVC, get him built out. I'm thinking that's probably best. Got done the missions a lot quicker than I thought I would. I spent about 5,000 energy overnight trying to get the 10 mythicals inside Spider's dungeon, and I got all 10 of them in the one night, which was pretty fantastic. And then, of course, I do actually have enough gems now as well to fully buy the masteries for Marius straight out. The only thing is I won't have enough to fully book him. I only have 6 books, so unless I get incredibly lucky, he won't be maxed out. That being said, though, what we're talking about today is the arena, and since I have maxed out the Great Hall, it's taken me a long time to do it. Everything is nice and beautiful and golden now. I want to talk about 5 things that I've learned about the arena by doing this. I'm not going to give you, you know, oh, just build a blender team and you'll get done this really quick, because, you know, it's far more nuanced than that. So there's plenty of arena videos out there. I made a few arena guides on defenses and everything like that already myself. I want to just give you 5 tips that I think will help you out, help your account out, and just help keep things a little bit more straightforward. So let's go ahead and hop into it with tip number 1, which is to focus on arena/PvP modes. Now, I know on the forums there was quite a lot of disgruntled folks because we have this daily challenge now which says to win 1 live arena battle. I think that is a huge positive, and the reason for that being is you should be doing PvP game modes anyways, regardless of who you are. And let's break that down a little bit. So let's take a look at the oldest iteration of arena that's inside the game currently, Classic Arena, right? Classic Arena, you come in, you have all these ranks to go through, so starting all the way down at Bronze 1, or I think it's Bronze in this game, I don't know, I've been playing a lot of gacha games recently, and then you go all the way up to Gold 5, of course, it is Bronze, so you go up to Gold 5, some people will reach Platinum, those sorts of things, but it's only the top 500 people in the world, so it's very unlikely. That being said, though, even down in Bronze, you can still get yourself some very decent weekly rewards, including gems, ancient shards, gear pieces, and then those rewards only get better as you go up. So by the time you're in Gold 5, you can get void shards, you get XP brews, epic books, still gems, better gear drops, everything that you might need. And the gear pieces that come from this are quite decent, right? So that's the first reason to focus on, is because you're getting gear and resources that you wouldn't otherwise get for your account. Now, that being said, you do also have the Great Hall bonuses, and I didn't really think this was, you know, that big of a deal or anything like that, so I didn't really focus on arena off the start, but holy god, let me tell you, this is incredibly strong, right? So for any particular champion on my account, baseline, no matter the affinity, no matter the champion, I'm getting plus 80 accuracy, I'm getting plus 80 resistance. That's the equivalent of having a banner on that champion. And these bonuses allow you to do ridiculous things late game. I was running my Corvus the Corruptor with only accessories, no gear, so no chestplate, no boots, no gauntlets, nothing, inside Dragon Hard 10, and he had enough stats simply because of my Great Hall and the ring, amulet, and banner to land his debuffs and survive all the way through the run, even against the dragon, which is absolutely insane. I still have to showcase that at some point on my channel, but it was hugely due to the Great Hall, essentially. These bonuses are so strong. Not only that, you also get plus 25% crit damage. You're getting 20% defense, attack, and HP. This is absolutely insane. And then additionally, on top of that, you're also getting the plus 22% by being in Gold 5, right? If you're in Gold 5, if you're in some of these other ones, you get different bonuses as well that apply to all areas of content. And that's the important thing about your Great Hall. Your Great Hall applies to every single area in the game, including Arena, right? So if we look at area bonuses, for example, Hydra is specific to Hydra. You're not really going to get benefits out of it inside City of Centranos. You know, we have the Cursed City that you can upgrade, but they're all specific to that area. Affinity bonuses just apply no matter what, and these stat differences can make a huge impact. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at Sun Wukong, my strongest nuker on my account. You can see from the Great Hall, wherever it might be, where is it actually? I am confused by this. We have affinity bonuses. There we go. It used to be labeled as Great Hall or something like that, I think. So he has 334 accuracy and 235 resistance. Now, you can't really see it because of my massive head, but 80 of those are coming from the Great Hall alone. He has an extra 25%, so he would be down at 274% crit damage if he didn't have the Great Hall, right? These are massive. If we take a look at blessings, a 5-star blessing is going to get you 38% crit damage. Sorry, 4-star blessing is going to get you 38% crit damage, and it's well known how big of an impact the 4-star blessings make on your damage dealers. You're getting almost as strong of a difference by maxing out your Great Hall as well. So that's enough talking about Classic Arena. Let's go to the next arena that was introduced in the way of Tag Team Arena. Basically Classic Arena, but times 3, right? Because we all wanted more Classic Arena at that point. Believe it or not, Tag Team Arena is also exponentially important to your account. So same kind of thing, you're going to have different tiers. At the end of the week, you are going to get basically gold bars based on where you have ranked, right? So these little cool kind of like gold bars that you get here that you can spend inside the Arena Bazaar. Now, why is it so important? Well, every single person who's playing Tag Team Arena is going to start off at bronze at minimum. That means that you're going to have access to 300 energy. You're going to have access to an Ancient Shard. There's going to be Drexthar fragments in here as well, so you can collect 100 of those over time, save them for a Champion Chase tournament or something like that, and you got yourself a free Legendary Champion that is actually pretty damn good, and he made a big difference on my account, when I got him at least, which was years ago now. You can also get rare skill tomes, rank 3 chickens, type and substat charms, some decent gear, right, or some decent resources. Again, it goes back to the same thing as Classic Arena. The resources you get from this are resources that you just would not get otherwise, right? And for a minimal time investment per day, so coming in here and just doing these battles, keep your defense kind of weak, right? Come in here, do the battles. It is so incredibly worth it. As you can see, I'm still buying these as a late game player, right? Which is, it shows how important it is. Once you get to silver tier, you actually unlock some better rewards as well. So you get a charm chest if that's your thing, rank 4 chickens, which are obscenely overpriced, wouldn't recommend them, an avatar, which again, obscenely overpriced, wouldn't recommend it. You get these accessories, which are incredibly important, and then you also get void shards that you can do. So these accessories are going to give you a cleansing or a refresh accessory. Both of those are very strong, so cleansing has a chance to remove a debuff, and then refresh has a chance to prevent a skill cooldown, so it's kind of like a reflex set that you can have in your accessory slot. So they are both super powerful for your account in particular areas. I have a video on a legendary champion, Lady of Aerith, that I used without any books in her, and I was able to have decent cooldowns because of reflex and refresh combined. Void shards, obviously, they're important to your account, right? And then lastly, if you manage to push into gold, even gold 1, there's some goodies that you can get in here. So obviously you can get an avatar frame if that's your thing, but more importantly, you get 5 to 6 star accessories, which is guaranteed, which at worst case scenario, this is going to be a couple tens of thousands of silver, right? And we all know how much of a pinch silver is for everybody in this goddamn game. Getting more silver is not a bad thing. So absolute worst case scenario, you're getting more silver. Best case scenario, you get yourself a nice, shiny new accessory. You can also farm sacred shards. You can get 1 per month guaranteed. And you can get legendary skill tomes, again, I think 1 per month guaranteed. These are some of the best ways to get these resources, because you can also get them through, you know, Clan Boss, but with Tag Team Arena, you can control what you get and when you get it. So, for example, you can get the Sacred Shard right during a Summon Rush event or something like that, which is so handy. The Avatar frame, you know, go ahead and pick it up. It's whatever. So you get super good stuff from here. So you get you know, Great Hall bonuses and top side gear from Classic Arena, and then inside Tag Team Arena, you're getting energy, you're getting shards, you're getting books, you're getting lower side gear, so the accessories, you're getting silver if you need it, you're getting chickens, you're getting so many good things that you should definitely be farming these 2 pieces of content. Now, that being said, we also have the Live Arena, which is a lot more contentious, but I think that the Live Arena is a fantastic place for people to be farming, especially if you're a low spend or free to play player. Why is that? Well, let's start with the obvious thing, so the crests, right? So you have bronze, silver, and gold crests. We go into the area bonuses. You can get yourself super strong bonuses from this. So, for example, we have Hydra, right? Where you max out Hydra. Super, super important, right? Getting defense ignore, attack percentage, crit damage, all that sort of stuff is so important. Not only that, you also guarantee, so if you do 5 wins per day, which is pretty easy, even at my level, it just takes a bit of time to get through it. 5 wins per day are going to guarantee you 20 multi-battles, 50 energy, and then a chest, which also has a chance to drop you a legendary book up to, I think they said 3 per month. Not only that, you also get rewards for climbing through. So if you plan on getting Quintus the Triumphant, you're going to have to get to, I think it's at least Gold 2 Vive Arena, which, you know, is pretty attainable for late game players, I would say. Again, it just takes time. And then all the way up through there, you're getting you're getting chickens, you're getting silver, gems, books, XP bonuses, lots of energy. And then at the later ends here, you're starting to get sacred shards and everything like that as well. Not only that, on top of that, every 35 wins gets you this chest, which means that you can farm up to 4 primal shards per month from doing this. So these primal quartz, you get a guaranteed primal shard at minimum. At, you know, gold 3 where I'm at, it's a bit different for the rest of the tiers, but where I'm at, you get a guaranteed primal shard every single chest up to a maximum of 4. Not to mention you're also getting gear from, you know, realistically some of the best gear sets in the game. So the impulse sets specifically are absolutely incredible. It's basically just a speed set but on steroids, right? So it's incredibly strong. Highly, highly, highly recommend participating inside the live arena. I don't think it's mandatory content. You're certainly going to get good rewards from the other two, but if at all possible, I do recommend that everybody participates in this because the rewards are just so incredibly worth it. And I was kind of letting it slip as well, but as soon as I started to see the differences on my account from like the area bonuses and the gear sets and everything like that, it became one of my top priorities, right? So that's point number 1. We're 12 minutes of rambling in and we're down point number 1. It's going to be a lot quicker for the rest of them though. So the second point that I want to tell you about, or the second thing that I learned from maxing my Great Hall, is to focus on Hydra. And that might sound counterintuitive. You're saying, well, if you're trying to progress in the arena, why are you focused on, you know, progressing somewhere that's not the arena? That's a great question. Let me tell you why. So if we go in here, let's take a look at some of my strongest champions. Right, so we have Marichka, and pay attention to the gear sets. We have Marichka, right? Another super strong champion would be somebody like UDK, right? More strong champions. What else do we have here? We have Freya, right? Another super strong champion. We have Ancora, right? Another super strong champion. What do you notice about these champions? They're all built inside Stone Skin or some combination thereof, right? So Stone Skin is so incredibly important to the especially late game arena meta, but also specifically, you know, even early game, mid game, you're going to get massive benefits out of it. Stone Skin basically says, hey, I don't need to win the speed race against you anymore. I'm going to take a 50-50 with you stripping my buffs. If I survive, you are fucked, right? That's simply what it is. You build out damage dealers inside Stone Skin, so the amount of times I see like a Sun Wukong in Stone Skin, He-Man is built out inside Stone Skin a lot of times. We have Marius now that's built out inside Stone Skin. Harimas. Everybody wants Stone Skin on basically all of their champions. I'm even starting to see some late game players build Arbiters and Sifis and those sorts of champions inside Stone Skin as well, because they perfectly counter, because Stone Skin means that you can't be debuffed. So Hegemon, Tormund, those sorts of champions that were traditional counters to speed just no longer have a place, right? So Stone Skin itself is so incredibly important. Not only that, though, we've also had introductions of content like Amius the Lunar Archon and especially the Chimera, which are requiring protected buffs on your champions to be able to effectively progress inside that content. And protection set also comes from Hydra, right? So if you're not familiar, let's go take a look at Hydra. Essentially, the way it works is with the Hydra, you're going to have these chests here, which are going to go ahead and drop you the gear pieces for Hydra. And then for accessories, you're going to be able to get them from these damage chests here, essentially. So make sure to be maxing out these chests or doing as much as you can. Obviously, if you get a win in the Hydra Clash, you're going to get some of these too, which can drop you some extra goodies. So Hydra is super important focus on Hydra. I've been kind of neglecting it myself and my clan. They let me know about it. I've been working on it a bit more. I have a feeling that Marius is going to certainly help me out a little bit. We'll have to see, of course, but, you know, it is what it is, I guess, right? But Hydra, you have to focus on a lot more, especially if you want late-game PvP action. And don't wait until the late game to farm Hydra, because realistically, the gear that you get from Hydra right now could still carry over into your late game, right? So that's something to consider. Tip number 3 is to narrow your focus of champions. And what do I mean by that? Well, this is kind of a tip that's going to go for every area of the game, regardless of, you know, if you're early game, mid game, late game, PvP, PvE, you know, whatever it might be. Focus on a few champions at a time, especially if you're a low spend or certainly a free to play player. I made this mistake when I started my account. I made this mistake even recently with PvP. You might have, you know, say for example, a Kale early on that you're trying to start out. You got him up to 5 stars, you got his masteries, and you're trying to get him to 6 star, and then you pull a shiny new legendary. It's like, oh, this legendary is super cool, I'm going to build them. More often than not, that turns out to be a mistake. So, when I'm drafting in live arena, my damage dealers are going to be Sun Wukong, Harima, or Taurus. 9 times out of 10. Right? 9 times out of 10. So 3 damage dealers. I have an attack-based damage dealer, defense-based damage dealer, and an HP-based damage dealer, and that's not accidental, by the way. Maybe a topic for another video. But I also have built out in my pursuit of climbing the arena somebody like a Thor, who only gets used in Hydra now. I built out Hefrak. I've built out Leorius the Proud. I've built out Tormund. Or Turvold, sorry, not Tormund. Don't have Tormund. I built out Quintus. I built out Supreme Elhain. I initially maxed Jakaro for the arena. I built out Eric's for the arena. I built out Ragash to use in the arena. I built out Nishak and Hegemon to use inside the arena. I built out Phoenix with the intention of using him inside the arena. And the list goes on. And another perfect example as well is Talia. Talia is only 6 star on my account because I built her back in the day to use in the arena. Now what I'm getting at is, and I forgot to mention Foley. Foley's on this list somewhere as well. So Foley I built out to use in the arena. But you can see that I used 3 champions at the end of the day because you only have so much gear on your account that it's better to have a lower amount of very well-geared champions than it is to have a higher amount of champions that are just in mediocre gear. So, for example, my Sun Wukong has a very solid build at 6,500 attack, 300% crit damage, and 291 on the speed. Now, let's say that, you know, I wanted to have a secondary attack-based damage dealer, but I had to take some pieces off of Sun Wukong. So now let's say he's at, you know, 5,000 attack and 200% crit damage. He is significantly weaker for me to have the trade-off of, let's say I've built out Leorius, right? He's kind of sort of built out. Let's say I've built out Leorius and some of Sun Wukong's gear instead. Now I have 2 more mediocre champions as opposed to just focusing on Sun Wukong. And that's kind of what I'm getting at here. Make sure that you're putting your resources into your best champions, essentially. If you're a low spend or a free-to-play player, in a lot of cases, that's going to end up being your epic champions, right? You're not going to have the resources. This is something people don't like to talk about a whole lot because it kind of undermines the type of game that we're playing here. But baseline, calling it how it is, if you are a free-to-play player, you are not going to have the resources to build every single legendary champion you pull. Case closed. Simple as that. You can look at some of the best free-to-play players on the entire game. So let's say Boozer, for example, who is a very well-known free-to-play player. He did not get to that status of account by building out every single legendary champion he had. If you look at that guy's account, there's so many champions in the vault that are just not used, right? You need to either be obscenely over the top with your resource hoarding, and most people aren't going to do that because we just don't have the self-control to, or realistically, you're just going to have a bunch of mediocre built champions, right? So if we look at like champions that are coming out these days, there's a lot of books that are required. You, on average, need over 10 books for a legendary champion that's getting released. 10 legendary books per champion is a lot, and we're getting now what, like at least 1 fusion per month on average, maybe multiple fusions depending on, you know, how it's going. That's 10 books a month that you're going to need for the fusions alone if you're planning on building them out, right? So essentially just condense your focus on a couple of top tier champions that you have on your account. There's plenty of tier lists and guides out there that will let you know what champions are top tier and whatnot. And feel free to hop into my Discord if you have questions, suggestions, you want builds, coaching, takeovers, whatever. I'd be more than happy to have you there. But focus on a few top tier champions and make sure that they are built out in your top tier, your tier 1 gear, right? So I usually refer to my gears as in tiers, because if we look at somebody like, again, Sun Wukong, he's going to have my tier 1 attack-based damage dealing gear, and then somebody like Leorius is going to have my tier 2, maybe tier 3 damage-based or attack-based damage dealing gear, because he's not built out inside, you know, a lethal or a savage set or something like that. So he's significantly weaker versus somebody like a Sun Wukong. So that's something to consider, and that'll help your account progress astronomically quicker than focusing on every champion you pull. Tip number 4. Test different builds. This is one that just got reinforced for me even more than it has previously. So I used to have my Marichka built out in a 6-piece stone skin set, along with like something else on there. So she had two turns of stone skin, which was incredibly strong. She had very good HP, very good defense, very good speed, decent resistance, all that sort of stuff. I decided that I wanted to test her out in a different build. So what I did, and I made a video on this, it's how to build Marichka. I came in, she lost HP, she gained a bit of defense, but she also lost a lot of resistance. But instead of a 6-piece stone skin, I have her in a 4-piece stone skin and then a 4-piece relentless. So she's having a 18% chance of getting an extra turn every time she takes a turn, and she already has extra turn mechanics in her kit. This build difference has been absolutely astronomical. Without kidding, without a joke, this has changed how my Marichka functions inside any content. I used her earlier today to beat Amius the Lunar Archon, and you have no idea how many times that Relentless procced and how many times it allowed me to get extra damage on the boss, essentially. It was absolutely insane. You have no idea how many times inside the arena I'm able to essentially just turn meter cycle with my Marichka, because I can keep A1ing and then Taurus keeps going. And Taurus on his A1 has turn meter fill for each critical hit. I think it's like 15% in total or something like that. It is so strong, and I would not have discovered this if I didn't say, hey, what would happen if I changed this build? I've changed the builds on a lot of my champions before. So for example, I've tried running a Sun Wukong in stone skin and seeing how it would work. I decided against it for my particular account. I tried running him high accuracy as a support champion. I decided I want him as a nuker instead. My Armands, I recently changed the build on him as well, so he's now sitting at 353 speed, but he has a supersonic set. He has a 6-piece supersonic, so turn meter decrease effects against him are 30% less effective. And then he's also going to fill his turn meter by 2% for each buff on each enemy. So if I'm going against a Sifi, there's been at least 5 live arena battles that I can think of off the top of my head where I've been able to cut in with my Armands and win, or they resign, simply because he's built out inside this gear set, and he was just built out in a speed set previously, right? So this kind of, you know, goes back to farm other areas of the game and whatnot too, because obviously I wouldn't be able to build him with Supersonic if I didn't farm, you know, City of Centranos or those sorts of things. Make sure that you're testing different builds with your champions, and this is doubly so early on in the game, because realistically, if you have a damage dealer and you build them out with 7,000 attack, obviously you're not getting that in the early game, but let's just say that, right? 7,000 attack, and they're in like a perception set and speed sets and those sorts of things, versus maybe you build them out inside 5,000 attack, but they're in savage or lethal. You're probably still going to get more damage out of the savage or lethal version of the champion. So test it out, see what works for your account, and change things up. Don't be afraid to change things up, right? We have free regear events. We can get free regear tokens from the Centranos as well. You can get them inside the clan shop now. There's really no excuse. Oh, nice. Clan leveled up. Let's go. There's really no excuse not to be doing these things, essentially. So highly recommend, highly recommend changing some builds on your champions every so often and just seeing what happens. And lastly, tip number 5 that I want to talk about is to have fun and to have, most importantly, proper expectations. So having fun is pretty obvious, right? Have fun in the game. Don't stress about it. If you find yourself getting tilted or those sorts of things, just take a break. It's just a game at the end of the day. Come back to it later. Come back to it the next day. This is something I learned in Dark Souls. If you're just banging your head against the wall and then you come back at it the next day, you're probably going to beat it on the first try, right? There's so many bosses that I've done like 30 attempts against in one night. I sleep on it, I come back the day after, and I beat them first try. Like, not even warmed up or anything. It's just simply how the human psyche works. You have to sleep on things to fully ingrain them inside your brain and get a good idea what's going on and, you know, come up with tactics and all that sort of garbage. So if you're struggling inside the live arena, go to bed, right? sleep on it. You'll come up with some new build ideas, some new champion drafting, something like that that will help your account progress, and it'll be worth it. And have proper expectations. I am a player that has spent probably now at this point almost $1,000 on the game in my roughly 5 years playing. I've never finished inside platinum, right? I probably could have way back in the day if I focused on farming gear and building champions well instead of just focusing on buying shards with my gems, which is a huge fucking mistake. I've made multiple how to spend gems videos now where I highly recommend against that each time because it set my account back so far because I'm still behind the curve in terms of gearing. It is what it is. That being said, though, I have not finished inside platinum as a player who spent $1,000. Unless you are obscenely good with hoarding your resources and min-maxing every single detail inside the game, you are not going to finish inside platinum. Simple as that. Case closed, right? You could spend more money than me, maybe finish inside platinum, right? But if you're a free-to-play or a low-spend player who's expecting to finish inside platinum within the first 6 months, year of playing, highly unlikely, right? It is possible, probably. I'm certainly not going to try it because I'm not a masochist and I do have some sanity left, but have those expectations, right? All too often I see people that are disgruntled because they're like, oh, I can't push into Platinum Arena. I literally seen a Facebook post a while ago that I don't know if it was trolling or not, but they were like, I can't push into Platinum Arena. I'm stuck in Gold 5. Please help me. And then somebody's like, okay, well, what's your team? And they're like, well, I'm using Ninja and Geomancer and Eostrid and Arbiter or something like that. And it's like, bro, those champions don't have any business being in the arena, let alone Platinum Arena, right? So have those expectations. You're not going to get to Gold 4 anytime soon, not anytime quick as a free-to-play or a low-spend player. And again, you could look at these accounts and use them as an exception of, like, say, oh, well, Boozer got there, or, oh, well, this free-to-play content creator got there. That's cool, but those guys have also been playing for years at this point, and they are absolute psychos when it comes to material and resource efficiency, right? So unless you think you're on their level, not going to happen. That being said, I hope this video, gave you some things to think about, and it helps you progress your account, and it helps you position yourself into a better mindset when you're approaching PvP content. I'm super happy to have the Great Hall done. I'd be interested to know, let me know down below, of course, where your Great Hall is. What level are you at overall, and where have you noticed the difference most? I would be very curious to hear that. That being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and the support on the channel. It means the world to me. I'll see you next time.